The last time something unexpected happened. The last time we were shook up. The last time we were shocked, surprised, felt like we were hit over our head in the midst of something new, a jolt. God was with us. God reminds Joshua that even though Moses is not here, even though we're not yet in the promised land, guess what? I've been with you. Don't forget that. Let the fact that I have been with you before, that I have been in your land, that I have been with your people, that I have spoken to your elders, that I have been with your ancestors, because I've been with your ancestors, because I've spoken throughout history, because I have been present in your life, because I have done it before. Why won't you know that you can be strong and courageous right now? I have been. I've been with you. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3. Exodus 3. Exodus chapter 3, starting with verse 1. Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 says, Now Moses was pasturing the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, yet the bush was not consumed. So Moses said, I must turn aside now and see this marvelous sight, why the bush is not burned up. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not come near here. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. He said also, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. So even in Moses' present moment, which is I have been for Joshua. So do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is when God is talking to Joshua in Joshua 1 and reminding him that he spoke to Moses here in Exodus 3, that was a I have been moment for Joshua. But when God spoke to Moses and mentioned Abraham and Isaac, that was a I have been moment for Moses. And when God spoke to Abraham, that was a I have been moment because he spoke to Adam. Do you understand what I'm saying? So all of us, if we pay attention to the voice of God, we can remember that there is a I have been moment from God in our life. I've been with your mama, that's why you're here. You wouldn't be here if I had not been. There was a song we sing when I was growing up. If it had not been for the Lord on our side, tell me where would I be? Where would I be? If it had not been. You won't get so shook up in the midst of present change if you remind yourself that he has been. My God, I have been with you. God has been and is present. God was present before Moses. And now God speaks to Joshua and is present not only through the deliverance of the people of Israel out of bondage and slavery in Egypt, but now delivering them into the promised land. That's the full transition story. I want you to know this, sanctuary. Our story right now is just one small piece of a bigger transition, transformation story. This part of the story is a big deal. But don't get so enslaved by this part of the transition that we lose sense of the bigger, purposeful narrative of the Sanctuary Covenant Church. The bigger, broader, purposeful narrative of what God is doing in my life. The bigger, purposeful narrative of what God is doing in your life. Your life is one part of God's bigger story. And you have multiple opportunities to be matured, to be stronger, and to grow in the small parts and pieces and elements of the bigger story. My God. Sisters and brothers, if I can get you to catch this, You'll have less anxiety when you go through change in life, because you'll realize that the anxiety that the devil is trying to make a big deal for you in the broader scope of things is not as big as you thought it was. Or just compare how blessed you are to some other places. I know some people just get all caught up and enslaved about change, but they still got clean running water going through their house. Eat 3 meals a day, have a roof over their head, have clothes on their back, food in the refrigerator, in the cupboard, stuff you don't even eat. Some of us have canned goods at our house, been sitting in the pantry for years. You're not going to open up them baked beans, they sitting there. Well, in case there's a storm or something, you ain't going to make you're not going to do that. If something really happened, you'd be so busy hollering that you wouldn't open up no canned beans. These beans and this water's here in case of emergency. In emergency, you'll be going, ah! That's what you'll be doing, not eating no beans. That wasn't even in the points here. Reflect on how God has been present in your life. See, as I'm going through a time of change in my life, I'll be honest with you. I'll be transparent with you. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed. There's a part of me that's scared to step out. So I have to remind myself on a daily basis that when I was scared of when I was stepping out, graduating from high school and going to college, God was present. When I was scared when I graduated from college and I didn't know what I was going to do, God was present. When I left my mama and daddy's house and I had my own place for the first time and I was really on my own, for real, I was scared. But God was present. When God called me into the ministry, I was scared to death, but God was present. On my wedding day, man, I had butterflies all over the place, all in my stuff. I was standing up there, I was like, I was sweating, I was sweating. She ain't my girlfriend no more. It's about to be my wife. This is for real. This is for real. But God was present. When Tanisha told me she was pregnant the first time, I was scared to death. But God was present. Do you understand what I'm trying to share with you, sisters and brothers? The best way to deal with change is to be reminded of your spiritual history. Every time you've been through change, where was God? Right there. Where is God now? I have been. Second point, I will be. Back to Joshua, chapter 1, verse 5. He said, I've been with Moses, I will be with you. God is present now. What will you do? God says in verse 3 of Joshua 1, every place on which the sole of your feet treads, I've given it to you, just as I spoke to Moses from the wilderness in this Lebanon, even as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, as far as the great sea, towards the setting sun, will be your territory. God could have summed it up like this: you ain't seen nothing yet. That's what God could have told Joshua. God could have said to Joshua,